I am Ann Blackman Clemens. I grew up here, lived here till I was 20, and lived a little bit here and there. I lived in South Dakota probably 12, 13 years in the 70s and 80s, so between the 60s and the 90s, things really changed here a lot, for the good. But it's also good that we still have this to look at and remind ourselves of the days we were growing up in the 50s and 60s.
Absolutely.
And I am Connie Blackman. I now live in Cairo, but I can't say I was born and raised here. I was born in Quincy, but raised here in Havana. And I was here up until like 18 or 19 when I started working with the state of Florida, and I am currently retired from the state of Florida. I've lived between Havana and Quincy. I lived in Tallahassee for a number of years, and am in Cairo now.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, our grandmother, Vera Merritt, she lived right up the road from us, and we would spend a lot of time with her. If we ran away from home, we would always run to her house. I'm guilty.
Me too.
Yeah, but our grandmother, we know most about our maternal grandmother, Vera Merritt. She was born in Henson, and she used to walk to Havana to do sewing for people and would walk home. Now, we never knew our maternal grandfather, but he had a farm up there. He ground cane juice and made syrup and cane syrup, of course, and that's pretty much about all we know about Granddaddy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Daddy's oldest sister, Eunice Blackman Dunn, she and her husband owned the theater in Cairo, Georgia. It was the Dunn Theater, and they owned the one here in Havana, and they owned the one in Chattahoochee, Florida, which is where they lived. And Mom and Daddy managed the theater here in Havana for them.
Pretty much, they're all, well, I don't know that I was ever in the one in Chattahoochee, but we used to have to ride up with Uncle Spurgeon a lot of times on Saturday because they needed help up in Cairo. But they all have the stage down front. I can remember Mama always talking about the day Elvis Presley came to town, because back then when new movies came out, the movie stars would tour around and visit. I don't remember it though, doggone it. Sure don't remember it.
Yeah.
But then it'd go upstairs to where the projector room is. And I know you know whoever was running the projectors up there, and I remember Tony. What's his last name? Anyway, they'd always hang out the window up there overlooking the marquee, and they could see down in the street and see who was passing by or walking around, and they'd be yelling at each other and talking, and whatnot. So yeah, I know the one in Cairo and here. In fact, some years ago, probably 15 years ago or something, Connie and I went, and we were just talking to the guy who managed the Zebulon, and he took us all over backstage in there. He took us up in the projector room.
But they've had to switch to digital now, so they don't have the old projectors anymore.
No.
I remember the last time that I went in the back of the theater here, and you could see up where the projection room was. You couldn't get up there, but I could still see the old film splicing machine up there. I hope somebody got that out before they bulldozed that thing down. But
I heard
yeah,
there was the old curtains and everything.
they were still there.
out there, and,
They sure
and maybe
were.
some of the seats and stuff.
And I can still remember going with Daddy. You would go in the side by the screen, and you would go down up under the stage, and that's where the furnace was. And he would have to go in there and do something every once in a while to keep it going. Of course, there wasn't any air conditioning.
No.
And
But I can remember too, because running the concession stand, when I needed popcorn, when you first walked in the front doors, and then there was an aisle down both sides. Well, right past the left one, which would take you into the ticket booth, there, I guess it was under the stairs, and that's in big tin garbage cans is where they'd store the whole kernel popcorn.
mm-hmm.
And so Daddy'd usually go in there and get that for me and bring it out.
And then when she
Creepy.
graduated to selling tickets and candy, I got to do the concession stand. And boy, was that fun.
But, I mean, we got a regular paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember even if there was some movie I wanted to see, I had to pay Connie to come work the concession stand for me for that, I know, for that 2 hours or whatever. But it taught her how to do it too, because Daddy would go up to the ice house and get a block of ice, and then he would take the ice pick or whatever and chip it up into chunks that I could put up in the snow cone machine. And then, so I made the snow cones. I did the popcorn, and it was the way they used to be popcorn machines too. So I learned early how to do that. And then we had the soda fountain too in there. So part of the same time I was working the concession stand. Because once we were up old enough to do, Mama would stay home. And she would make us the best hamburgers in town. And it was just a nice big patty.
Yeah, big patty.
She'd cook it and put it on light bread and just a little bit of mayonnaise on it. And she'd bring us our lunch
While you were working.
while we were working. Yep.
And if we got a candy bar, we had to pay for it too.
Well,
But when she moved over to sell the tickets and everything, and I was in the concession stand after I had gotten old enough, I did the ice. I can remember using an ice pick at like 7 or 8 years old, and kids this day and time you don't let them, but using the ice pick to chip up that big block of ice to put it in the snow cone machine, and holding the thing down to
Crusher.
crush the ice
Yeah.
so you could make the snow cones.
and I still have that scoop.
Do you really?
Yes, ma'am. I still have that scoop.
Oh, wow.
So
Now, there's
how
some
many-
out and around about, just like it, but I have the one that we used back
That's so
then.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was open on the weekends, on Friday and Saturday, and sometimes we had a Sunday matinee. And then part of the time while we had it open, when we worked there, we had a Wednesday night movie. I can remember that. Some of the movies, I remember House on the Haunted Hill.
Do those.
I was sitting down close to the screen on the far right-hand side, and I couldn't get up out of my chair. It scared me so bad. But we had a lot of westerns, and what I really enjoyed were the cartoons. Daddy always played a couple of cartoons beforehand. And
And
you'd
we didn't have to
Mighty
watch the
Mouse.
commercials either beforehand. I know the tickets were children were 35 cents and adults were 50 cents. And not just for the one movie. There was always a double feature on Saturdays, and they just ran them back to back from, I would say, early afternoon till 10 o'clock at night or so, however it worked out. But you could go sit there all day if you wanted to.
best babysitting place in town.
Yep, yep. People always talk about that. So,
And I do have to say one other thing about working at the theater. It taught me how to make change. It taught me very, very good work ethic that I've carried throughout my life. And it taught me so much about how to serve people, how to take, customer's always right. Not really.
you catch more flies with sugar than you do vinegar.
Right,
So
but
you don't have that a lot today.
yeah. But being a servant for people and helping them out, I can do something today and I'll think about something that I learned working at the theater. There were 2 separate entrances. Tickets were sold on both sides, as was candy. The concession stand had 2 separate windows. I never thought it was right that the African Americans didn't have a bathroom in the balcony. They sat in the balcony and the whites were all downstairs. But, like I said before, everybody loved and respected Daddy because Daddy treated everybody equally. And
That's just how it was.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s, 60s.
It wasn't right, but it is what it was, and I think, we all bleed the same color of blood, and everybody should learn to embrace everybody.
Right.
It's, red, yellow, black, and white. Everyone's precious in His sight, so.
I worked 3 summers in tobacco for Leroy Durden.
I did too.
I was 13, 14, and 15. And I remember the first year, Connie got to work in the fields. But I worked in the barn all 3 years. So it was a little shadier in there. It wasn't cooler probably, but I had to keep the leaves off the barges on the tables we had 5 ladies, 4 on 2 machines, and then 1 lady who strung by hand, and she could string just as many sticks as the ones on machines could.
Machines just like that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
But the second summer, I was 14, and Mr. Leroy's sister-in-law had been barn boss prior to that, but she had to be out for some surgery that summer. So he made me barn boss, which meant they let me know when they were getting low on sticks, and I would have to go down to the back of the barn and count up a bundle of 50, which was fine until a snake went scurrying away. And it's like they'd always come in from the field at 11 to punch up to the top of the barn what they had strung that morning, and like, they'll be in here in a minute, just hold on, okay? And they were always trying to get me to give them another punch on their card, because that's what you did, you punched a hole when you gave them 50 sticks. But they were so good to us because they just watched out for us, So we'd get Mr. Leroy come right around by our house and pick us up too, along with picking
everybody
all the others
else.
up.
We all rode in the back of the truck.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where we learned how, when we rolled our hair on Fridays, to go out on Friday night and tie a scarf around it so all the tobacco juice wouldn't get in it. But now I worked in the fields. I did everything from crawling on my hands and knees pulling weeds to I lugged, and I had the most wonderful primer. Robert Lee, I won't ever forget Robert Lee.
And Rutha Lee, his sister, worked in the barn.
And she used to babysit us. But Arthur Lee always picked me. I was so little. Can't tell it now, but he was just like a giant to me back then. But his pads of tobacco, he would leave them. It'd take me 2 trips to the barge to take 1 stack of leaves. And I'd be running my little legs off. But I kept up with him. But it's like Ann said, we all took care of each other out there. And it was like a family.
Exactly.
Oh, and then I remember too, one of the stringers, Leola, everybody called her Tootsie, and I couldn't tell you her last name, but she strung on a machine, and you did like this. Well, her finger got caught and the needle went through it, and had to wait until somebody ran to the field to get Mr. Durden to come back and break the machine down to get her finger out. I know. It's funny what you remember.
I know Miss Trueluck.
Miss Jessie Trueluck.
Miss Jessie Trueluck. And I'm sure everyone, it's like you get on Facebook today and see how people write and can't spell and improper grammar, and it just,
I know.
I want a red pen.
I thank her almost every day. I'll see an email come in, and it'll be all kinds of mistakes, and I'm like, thank you, Miss Jessie.
Right, exactly.
And in the 1st grade, I had Miss Hyatt, the principal's wife. She taught me 1st grade, and I remember one day, she always wore hair up in a bun, and one day she let her hair down and let us all brush it. I mean, and it was like almost to her knees, it was so long.
Wow.
Mr. Willis.
Mr.
Mr. Willis, the peanut man.
Yeah, he sure was. Lord knows how many bags of peanuts we ate from him.
No. He would be across the street from the theater. He always had boiled peanuts.
He's right
Sometimes
at
he would have,
Donaldson's in front of them.
He would have some parched peanuts too, but the boiled peanuts were the best.
Oh yeah.
And we'd go over there and get peanuts. And yeah, he was wonderful. And there was also, what was his name? He was a sign painter. Oh goodness. Norfleet, yes. After the theater closed, Daddy had a pool room here in Havana.
Well, he had it before the theater closed.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he opened the pool hall across the street and down a couple of stores.
Between Gandy's and Charlie's.
Yeah.
And of course, Mama wouldn't allow us to go in there,
Well, females weren't supposed to hang out in a place like that.
But Daddy had let me go in sometimes, and
or we'd always have a question we needed to ask.
and go in there and get a Coca-Cola and sit up on those real high bleachers that they had, so you could look over and watch. And I got to play pool with Mr. Norfleet, and I won. Yeah, right. Yeah. But I won.
One way or the other.
He let me win, I know. Now, I didn't then.
Right. Well, they've always said that it takes a village to raise your children. And in a small town, you get that a lot more so. And I live in Jacksonville now, which is completely different. But it has its advantages too, because you have more things to do than you do in a small town. But the I mean, I often wish my granddaughter could grow up in a small town. You have a group of close friends living in a big city, and they're your family, outside of blood, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same.
I heard it was a little hard to get away with anything in Havana. Everybody kind of knew what you were up to.
Everybody knew everybody, and they knew who your mom and daddy was.
And if you got in trouble at school, they knew it when you got home.
That's right. That's right.
And you would get it again. I think growing up in a small town, to me, has many more advantages than a large than a city, because it's more family oriented to me. And tell me if I'm telling this right, because I've never lived in a large city. Tallahassee's the biggest place I've ever lived, so, but the closeness, we haven't talked about this. My mama used to be a telephone operator, the Lily Tomlin kind, back in the day.
Right.
And you could pick up the phone and say, I want to talk to so-and-so, and they would connect you. Or if you were at somebody's house and pick up the phone and say, I want to talk to my mama, they would know who you were and they would connect you. You don't have anything like that in a large town. And it does take a community to raise a child. So, but as far as a large town, to me, it's just too dispersed. I don't know what the right word I'm looking for is, but it's like you said, even in Tallahassee, you have your few close friends that you do things with, but it's not like you can wander all over town on Saturday and come home at dark and, nobody's worried about you. But that's what it was like growing up here.
One thing that I remember from my younger childhood, and Connie too, was where the Chevrolet place was. We lived right across the street. There was a house there, but we lived in an apartment there. And Mr. Hendricks, every night, would come get Connie and me, and we would walk around all the blocks because he'd go check all the businesses' doors because, they rolled up the streets at 6 o'clock. And I remember one time the Chevrolet place so he had to go, I guess, back to the office, the police station, and call Mr. Bully. And not Mr. Bully, I'm sorry, Mr. Billy. But a lot of evenings we'd just walk around with him.
Yeah, he was another character here. And he would come
Donna? Do you remember? Yeah.
Come by the theater, and I would walk all around town with him while he checked the locks.
Good.
I've enjoyed this too.
This
has
is
been
nice.
great. Brings back some good
I'm
memories.
glad y'all asked us to come do this.
Me too.
Because I know a lot of people were not happy when they took that bulldozer over there across a couple of streets over. They've not done anything with it either.
It's all your fault though, Ann, because if you had gotten that patent on that lemon Coke, we could have bought that theater back.
I know. We would have never had to work a day in our life,
I
would
know.
we?
We could be showing old movies on Thursday night
That's
know.
right.
and bingo on the weekend.
There
That's
you
right.
go.
I'm ready.
I am too.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all start having bingo.